All right, let's jump into it. Check this out. Check this out. This is on the National Pulse. Democrats draft legislation to erect a permanent insurrection memorial. I mean, come on. Come on. Check this out. House Democrats introduced a bill to erect a permanent attack on the Capitol exhibit on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol. Guys, just so you know, if you are a member of my locals community, and all of you should be a member of my locals community, you can join actually. Oh, let me get my ticker. Hang on, I forgot the ticker. You can join at kb.locals.com/support. And the reason I say you should become a member of my locals community is that we currently are working on January 6th shitposting. Nathan in locals, shout out Nathan, has been doing a great job of rallying posts and ideas that we can all send out all across our social media on January 6th to thumb our nose at the idiocy of the Democrats who want to erect a permanent memorial, who are going to have a national day of mourning on January 6th as the worst thing that has ever happened in the history of ever. We've got some great shit posting going on in my locals, planning, getting all set up for that. So if you haven't joined my locals before, this is definitely the time to do it. Co-sponsored by nearly 20 Democrats, the bill dubbed the Capitol Remembrance Act would direct the architect of the Capitol to design and install in the United States Capitol an exhibit that depicts the attacks on the Capitol that occurred on January 6th. The bill specifies that the project must be installed in a prominent location and retain a permanent status. Property damaged during the attack, photographs, and a plaque honoring the sacrifices of heroes, including United States Capitol Police officers Brian Sicknick, are among the exhibit requirements. Officer Sicknick, however, died of natural causes, according to the DC's chief medical examiner. The architect may include artwork depicted or created to depict the attack. Oh, check this out. And I actually have the full bill. We can take a look at the actual bill. The architect may include artwork created to depict the attack on the Capitol. The legislation, actually, let's just read the bill. H.R. 1627. You can see that here are our sponsors. Oh, God, Jayapal. Of course, she's sponsoring it. Annie Custer. Annie Custer is one of my congresswomen. Of course, Annie Custer is sponsoring it. Anyone in New Hampshire needs to remember this. Annie Custer is going to have herself one heck of an opponent. I can't say who yet because it's not announced yet, but Annie Custer is going to have one heck of an opponent. I'll tell you that. To direct the architect of the Capitol to design and install in the United States Capitol an exhibit that depicts the attack on the Capitol that occurred on January 6, 2021, and for other purposes. Not later than 2 years after the date of the enactment of this act, the architect of the Capitol, in consultation with the Joint Committee on the Library, shall carry out a project to design and install in a prominent location in the United States Capitol a permanent exhibit that depicts the attacks on the Capitol that occurred on January 6, 2021. Exhibit requirements: inclusion of Capitol property. The architect shall, to the extent practical, preserve property from the United States Capitol and or the Capitol grounds that was damaged during the attack and include such property in the exhibit described in subsection A. So things like broken windows. I mean, I saw a guy get nailed in the head right in front of me with a tear gas canister. Is that going to be in the exhibit? He was bleeding from the head. He fell down. I wasn't really sure what happened because I got tear gas too, so I was on the ground too. I was just covering up my nose and mouth when that happened. Anywho. Photographic records. The architect shall include existing photographic records relating to the attack on the Capitol as described in the subsection. A plaque. The architect shall include in the exhibit of the subject plaque the United States Capitol Police and other law enforcement agencies that participated in protecting the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Yo, I was there. The police weren't doing nothing. I was reading today about all these articles of of Capitol Police planning on suing Trump. I have video on my phone from outside the Capitol because I did not go in the building. I stayed outside. I have video of the police standing around and doing nothing. I have video of the police marching around and doing nothing. I have video of the police marching by people who were breaking windows and doing nothing to stop it. So, my sympathy for the Capitol Police is not altogether there at the moment. The sacrifices of heroes, including United States Capitol Police officers Brian Sicknick and all these other names I'm not going to pronounce, and those who sustained injuries as a result of protecting the United States Capitol on January 6th. The Capitol staff that helped restore the Capitol complex after the attack. Artwork. The architect may include artwork created to depict the attack on the Capitol in the exhibit described in the subsection. They're authorized to be appropriated such sums as are necessary to carry this out. Available appropriations pursuant to this subsection shall remain available until expended. Well, that's nice. Isn't it nice that they want to basically create a memorial for something that didn't really happen? Doesn't this stuff make you like question every event that you ever learned throughout history? Listen, obviously I'm not going to deny that January 6th happened. I was effing there. I was watching some of the video today. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yeah. I remember the feeling of walking up to the Capitol and being like, what the hell is going on? But seeing how it's been depicted in the media and all the nonsense since then, doesn't it make you question everything that you have ever been taught about history? I mean, the victor writing the history books, the winner writing the history books, that whole concept has never been more pronounced to me than it is in relation to January 6th. Because for everyone who was there, what was reported and what continues to be reported and the National Day of Mourning and Remembrance is nothing compared to what was actually experienced that day. It is two completely different events. I was watching a video from CNN earlier. CNN was interviewing Trump supporters. They were trying to trick them as they always do. And they were interviewing these people that were like, it was all a setup. It was all a setup. And you know what? I mean, they're probably not wrong about that. The FBI was provably effing there. But it's like we live in a reality in which we do not have a shared history of that day. There is the history that the people who were there that day experienced. That is a completely different history than what was reported in the media, which, of course, what was reported in the media will be the thing that everyone who wasn't there observed from it. I don't know how we come back from stuff like this. I really don't. Let's see some super chats. Naruto, I'm not sure this is appropriate. But okay. Thought you'd get a kick out of this. Jack Murphy has been added to a Steam game called Cuck Simulator. Poor Jack Murphy. Poor guy. And then we have another one from Naruto. How long before that permanent memorial is vandalized by BLM? Well, I mean, this is a fair question. Why aren't the Republicans calling for memorials for every BLM riot? What would happen if this memorial was vandalized by BLM? How would that be reported? Will BLM be allowed to pull this memorial down because it causes them emotional harm? So many questions. So many questions about the Capitol. But guys, don't worry. Because Biden is going to tell us what really happened on January 6th. White House says Biden will speak to the truth of January 6th in pointed jabs at Trump lies. The White House press secretary says Mr. Biden's remarks will reflect the reality of the worst attack on the Capitol since 1814, not the lies pushed by former President Donald Trump. Do you guys remember back in the summer of 2020 when Black Lives Matter literally sieged the White House? That happened. That really happened. Black Lives Matter sieged the White House to the point where They had to move Donald Trump to the bunker, and then the media came out and called him Bunker Boy and made fun of him for going to the bunker when Black Lives Matter was literally sieging the effing White House. That was real. But no, January 6th with, you know, 50,000 minimally Trump supporters on the Capitol lawn, waving their flags and chanting their chants. That was the worst attack in American history, please. President Joe Biden will address the historical significance of the January 6th insurrection by discussing the reality of what happened during the worst attack on the Capitol since the 1814 burning of Washington. Mr. Biden is scheduled to speak from the Capitol's Statuary Hall on Thursday morning to mark the 1 year anniversary of the day a riotous mob armed with chemical spray, stun guns, and other improvised weapons stormed the Capitol in hopes of preventing Congress from certifying the 2020 election victory. I'm sorry, what? They were armed with what? Trump supporters are some of the most ardent defenders of the Second Amendment. Do you think for 1 second that if people who are ardent defenders of the Second Amendment want to stage an insurrection, that they're not going to bring their effing guns? Why would they need chemical spray, stun guns, and other improvised weapons? If they had wanted to stage an insurrection, they would have brought their guns with them. This is just basic logic. I don't know what is so hard to figure out about this for like normal people. According to the Fraternal Order of Police, at least 140 U.S. Capitol Police and D.C. Metropolitan Police suffered injuries at the hand of the pro-Trump mob that day. Excuse me? What? Okay, please. 3 rioters and 1 Capitol Police officer, Brian Sicknick, died in the immediate aftermath of the attack, while several other officers have taken their own lives in the years since. I mean, it is a little bit of a coincidence that these police officers are mysteriously taking their own lives. What did those police officers know about what happened on January 6th that resulted in a bunch of them taking their own lives? Tragic and sad, and I'm sorry for their families. I really am. But what did they know? What did they find out? Because again, I was there, as I'm sure were some of you, and the police were standing around not doing a damn thing. They were standing around doing nothing. Sin would like to remind everyone that the like button needs to be erected. Please mount that like button if you have not already, or at least fortified. At least fortified. The Democrats get to fortify everything. We can fortify the like button. Come on. But Mr. Trump, who reportedly watched the violence on television from his West Wing private dining room that day, and many of his allies in the media have consistently downplayed the violence that day. Asked about the content of Mr. Biden's planned remarks, Ms. Psaki said, Mr. Biden is going to speak to the truth of what happened, not the lies that some have spread, and the peril it posed to the rule of law and our system of democratic governance. He will also commemorate the heroes of January 6th, especially the brave men and women of law enforcement who fought to uphold the Constitution and protect the Capitol and the lives of people who were there. Let's just remind everyone that this is the side that was ardently arguing to defund the police for the entirety of 2020. And now they're lifting them up and memorializing their brave sacrifice. He will also speak to the work we still need to do to secure and strengthen our democracy and our institutions to reject the hatred and lies we saw on January 6th and unite our country. Oh, so here's what it really is. He's going to talk about the Voting Rights Act. That's what they're really going to talk about. That's what the Democrats are going to use January 6th for, to push the voting rights bill. A short time later, Ms. Psaki was asked if Mr. Biden feels there is anything further he can do to change the minds of Trump supporters who believe the lies spread by the former president about his successor's legitimacy. She replied, I think what he's going to do is continue to speak to everyone in the country. Those who didn't vote for him, those who may not believe he's the legitimate president, about what he wants to do to make their lives better. And he sees that it's his responsibility as president of the United States. That's what he will continue to do. While Biden hasn't been doing a great job of making people's lives better.